Good morning, sweethearts. Happy Sunday. How you doing? Are you feeling the magic? The intensity? It's beautiful, really. On my video, one of my videos, I think it was my second one yesterday, a gal who has just started her spiritual journey 18 months ago asked a question. She goes, "My question to you is this. How do you get unmad at yourself? Unmad at yourself for allowing this to happen when it was for being so blinded to it all when you chose it before you incarnated." Good morning, Patricia. How you doing, beautiful? And sweet ones, again, it goes, good morning, Jenny. It goes back to forgiveness. You know, we all go through it on our journey. Just as we all go through, look at it to like when you're a child and, you had to learn to crawl before you could walk, and before you could walk, you had to get that balance, in between that stage of crawling and walking. And, there's stages or there's levels or, and even though each of us on our journeys, it's a unique journey because where maybe I dealt with the sexual abuse aspect of it in the beginning of my journey, some of you don't deal with that till the middle or near the, longer into your journey, if you will. But the overall theme of the spiritual journey is we all go through the same things, sweet ones. And some of the main things on the spiritual journey that we go through is that space of really being angry at yourself. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Verica. How you doing, sweetheart? Speak hugs and blessings. And so, that's one of the stages is being angry at yourself, angry at the world. That's just one of the phases. Just like we all have to go through that phase of spiritual ego. Just like we all have to go through that phase of spiritual competition. There are phases, sweethearts, and there's stages, phases, whatever label you want to give it. And how do you get unmad at yourself? Forgiveness. There are so many deaths that we go through on the spiritual journey. And with every death we go through, it is no different than if you lost a loved one. And it's no different in the sense that you still have to go through the grieving process for every death you go through. All the metaphysical deaths. And, everything, anger, sweet ones, anger is really just hurt at the betrayal, and or what we seemingly feel is betrayal. And if you look back through the death after somebody dies, the death process, you go through the shock, then you go through the anger, and then you go through, well, people, these next couple stages, but the overall thing, you go through the shock, and then you go through the anger, and then you go through the acceptance, and then you go on from there. And it gets easier after the acceptance. And when you can allow yourself to forgive yourself for not being aware, when you can be present with that anger and you can trace that anger back, sweet ones, that anger goes back to the fact that when we incarnate into a physical vessel, we had veiled ourselves. We had taken ourselves away from everything that we have known. And when you can understand that that is where the anger stems from, you're able to forgive yourself more. And that's really the key here, is forgive yourself. And allow yourself to go through the process. Because until you can allow yourself to be angry and be okay with the fact that you're angry at yourself, that you're angry that you are blinded, that you are angry that your governments and everybody has enslaved you. When you can allow that forgiveness, you will find that the anger will slowly go away, and more awareness will come up open for you. The truth hurts, sweet ones, and yet it is only facing that truth, that hurt of the truth, that sets you free. That's why they say, the truth will set you free. But the truth is also going to make you angry. The truth is also going to shock you. The truth is also going to make you weep. And that again is a process of your journey. So for those of you who are just waking up, who have just begun your journeys, the greatest asset you can give yourself, sweet ones, is forgiveness and love. Who did I miss here? Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, Amy, Carla, Abdesalim. Did I say that right? Lisa, Carol. Good morning, sweethearts. Big hugs and blessings. It's okay to be mad at yourself. It's okay to hurt that you made the choices that you did and you don't remember making them. And that's a big one for all of us. And that comes up over and over and over again. And as the memories come up, again, you go through a death process. With every major hurt, if you will, that comes up, issue, whatever label you want to, wound, whatever label we want to give it, there is a death. I wrote a poem, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I still share it once in a while because in it, I started it out, I have lived 1,000,000 lives and died 1,000 deaths. And that's the process. You are literally, for every memory that comes up, every memory that every experience that you have given birth to, if you will, life is in an infinite cycle. For every ending there is a beginning. For every birth there is a death. For every wrong there is a right. For every action there is a reaction. And when you can accept that for every birth there has to be a death. Now again, I'm not talking a physical death, because in the physical world, in that sense, death isn't real, even though it seems very real to us. It's a transcendence of world, transference of worlds. So when you can look at every memory that comes up, if you will, every hurt, every pain, whatever it may be, if you can allow yourself to look at it as that's the word I want to use. If you can look at it as a birth, and that now you have to put it to death. When you can look at it that it's a death, which is going to give birth, you can look at it from a different aspect. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But every memory is coming up for you to give it a death. for you to allow yourself to go through the process of that grieving so you can make room for a new birth. When you empty your cup, you make room for it to fill up. And anger takes up the most of your cup right now. For those just beginning their spiritual journey. And that's just like humanity. What happens when there is a traumatic event, a natural disaster? It is in the depths of pain that the seeds, that creation births itself, plants its seeds. When we have a natural disaster, not only do those individually affected by it go through the shock and the anger and the grief and the sorrow, but so too do we as a nation, we as a globe. We come together and we grieve together as a whole. It doesn't matter that we are not there in that presence with that person, but individually they have to go through that same process that we have to go through as a culture, a religion, a society, a globe. And it is in those moments of anger that you're allowing yourself to release it. It is in those moments of sorrow and deep heartache that you set yourself free. Because it's in those deepest moments where you come to a space where I'm tired, I can't handle this no more, take this pain from me. It is in those deepest spaces that you allow yourself to surrender to forgiveness. It is in the depths of that darkness, that hell, that abyss, that you find your greatest strength and your greatest power. Because that is in the space where you allow yourself to surrender to your soul and your heart and your spirit. And once you get to that space, you're able to see that it wasn't as bad as you thought it was. That it was really just fear. And that you allow yourself to come into a space of acceptance. And you become okay with the anger. You become okay that it happened. You become okay with yourself for it. Through love. And that's a process that not only do we have to individually each do for every single wall and bind and chain that we put around our hearts, but it's something that we have to do for our government. We have to be able to allow that death to take place, that forgiveness, that anger for our government, that anger for the pharmaceutical companies, that anger for the diseases, that anger for the murderers, that anger for the rape, because that anger for the masculine for what he's done to you, and that anger for the feminine within yourself for what you've done to you. And every time you do that, you are removing a wall. You are you're allowing death to take place. You're allowing the chains to slowly come away from your heart. And you're taking yourself out of your own misery. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Paige. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Mickey, Alice. Carla, what are you saying, honey? A change on the video, what? So this is really more for those that are just awakening or have just been on their journeys.